Good evening, I'm Jeff Glore. We're going to begin tonight with new revelations about a mysterious compound in northern New Mexico. Nearly a dozen hungry children were found living in filthy conditions. 5 adults face child abuse charges, and court documents today now show one of them is under investigation for training children to commit school shootings. More on this now from Omar Villafranca.
Handcuffed and in a jumpsuit, Siraj Wahaj made his first court appearance this afternoon in New Mexico. Wahaj was charged with 11 counts of child abuse, but court documents show he may have been planning something more sinister. A foster parent of one of the children alerted investigators that Wahaj had trained the child in the use of an assault rifle in preparation for future school shootings. Prosecutors revealed the information to make the case he should not be given bail. Wahaj, another man, and 3 women were arrested when deputies raided the complex last week. Deputies say the 11 children were found wearing rags, hadn't eaten in days, and were living in filthy conditions without running water or electricity.
The breaking point for us was somebody with great knowledge of the compound sent a message saying basically that we are starving and the children are starving.
Taos County Sheriff Jerry Hogrove told reporters when Wahaj was taken into custody over the weekend, the sheriff said he had a pistol in his pocket and was wearing loaded 30-round AR-15 magazines on his belt. A shooting range and a 150-foot escape tunnel were also spotted near the compound. Court documents also said the complex was littered with trip hazards and open trenches. Wahaj is also being questioned about the whereabouts of his 4-year-old son, Abdul Ghani. He's accused of abducting his son after a December trip to a suburban Atlanta park. Deputies did find a child's body at the New Mexico compound and sent the remains to be identified. Now, CBS News has learned that Wahaj is the son of a Brooklyn imam who was a possible co-conspirator in the 1993 bombing of the World Trade Center. He was never charged. As for Wahaj, he is still in jail in New Mexico. His bond hearing is scheduled for sometime next week. Jeff?
Frightening allegations in this case, Omar. Thank you.
The news sometimes can be confusing because you can have one broadcast say one thing and then another broadcast on the exact same channel say something slightly different. It's important to be objective when you're speaking to people about issues and politics. But there's some things that you just cannot avoid. And that's when critical thinking comes into play. Me and the Notification Gang would like to invite everybody to come join us Monday through Thursday, 9:20 to 10 o'clock for morning coffee, where we discuss the events of the prior day and also just talk mess about stuff. See you then.
Prosecutors have revealed new information about a remote New Mexico compound where children allegedly were found with no clean food, no water, or electricity. One of the 5 adults accused of child abuse allegedly trained kids to carry out school shootings. Eureka Duncan is following this very disturbing story. Eureka, disturbing and bizarre is the word.
Absolutely, and so many children involved. Authorities raided the compound last week after a tip that there were possibly people there starving. They were also looking for an abducted 3-year-old boy. At the compound, they found the boy's father and 11 other children allegedly living in dire conditions. The 2 men and 3 women facing child abuse charges appeared in a New Mexico court Wednesday for the first time. According to court documents, when authorities raided their remote northern New Mexico compound last week, they found 11 children clothed in rags and appearing to not have eaten in days. Authorities had been searching for one of the suspects, Siraj Wahaj. He's believed to have kidnapped his then 3-year-old son, Abdul Ghani Wahaj, from Georgia back in December. In a Facebook video in January, Abdul's mother pleaded for her son's safe return.
He's sick. He needs medication. He needs everything.
According to an arrest warrant, Wahaj told Abdul's mother he planned to perform an exorcism on his son because he believed he was possessed by the devil. Investigators found the remains of a young boy at the compound, but have not confirmed if it's Abdul. According to court documents, authorities also found loaded firearms. Prosecutors say one of the children told their foster parent Wahaj had trained them in the use of an assault rifle in preparation for future school shootings.
There was a shooting range built on the west side of the property.
When you are traveling with women and children, you need to protect yourself.
Gerard Jabril Abdulwali is the father of one of the other suspects, Lucas Morton.
They were peaceful, 5 peaceful adult settlers, trying to homestead and make a better life for themselves. But they just went about it the wrong way.
All 5 adults pleaded not guilty. Wahaj was denied bail. His lawyer told the Associated Press the school shooting training allegation lacked explanation from prosecutors. Wahaj's father is a controversial imam in New York City. He was alleged to be a possible co-conspirator in the 1993 World Trade bombing, but he was never charged with any crime.
Wow, thank goodness for that tip that led investigators to the compound in the first place.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very good, thank you.
What's up, party people? Come join me Friday night, 9 p.m. after you put the kids to bed. Game night. I'm putting a team together. BBN, Jack Frost. What's up, party people? All right, so today, for everybody that hasn't heard, see, it's really difficult when you listen to the news and they tell you a story or they tell you what prosecutors believe. Often, just for future reference, whenever you're watching the news or listening to the news or whatever, when you initially hear them say prosecutors believe something or it's alleged or whatever, a good deal of the time they do that for 2 reasons. One is to circumvent any type of libel or lawsuit that could come their way for giving out false information. Another reason is because they don't always believe the exact first story that comes out to be anywhere near true. It usually orbits the truth, but it rarely is the absolute truth. So often they'll say prosecutors believe. So I'm going to say here that it's a belief that prosecutors have that these 2 men and these 3 women used the compound that they erected to build or create children that would then shoot up schools later. That's what we'll say as we address that particular issue. I am not going to say that these particular people, that was their actual desires. Because 1, how often do we see people of color, melanated people, shoot up schools? 2, not only were these black people, melanated people, but also it seems that they practice the religion or the customs of the Muslim heritage. So therefore, there's a good chance that they felt like they needed some kind of separation from regular society. Let's take all this into consideration. Now, with all of that being said, I am happy that the police got to them and rescued those children. Because those children were, be confused about this. Those children were in danger. Why? Do you see the conditions that they had to live in, for 1? 2, isolation usually causes mental disturbances. Usually people who are isolated for one reason or another from the rest of society or just in general, they will later in their life exhibit, if not sooner in their life, exhibit symptoms of a mental disorder. Situations like this cause mental health issues, basically is what I'm saying. Now, if you add that to the, it seems like fact that these people also had a problem feeding the children that they had there. Now, let's just be honest. They're trying to isolate themselves from the rest of the population for whatever the reason it might be. there's a good chance they're not going to the store. They're not going to the bodega. They're not going to McDonald's. They're not going anywhere where they can get food in order to feed these children. McDonald's isn't the best place to go. I just wanted to say a restaurant's name. It doesn't look to me like they had any farming going on. I didn't see any type of cattle there, any type of livestock. So when I hear that these children were starving and hungry and hadn't eaten for days, that would kind of make perfectly good sense. Okay, the second reason why I'm happy that the police, someone was able to go and, contact the authorities so the authorities can help the people that were in this particular situation. There was a child that gone missing. The father is one of the two men. Correct? The child was gone missing from Georgia. So yes, we should look for missing children. Period. Okay, now. The next thing that I want to preference before I actually get into the school shooting part. It's obvious that one of the ladies called in. Maybe it was the man. Who knows? But it's obvious that somebody called in and decided, it could have been the man, but somebody decided that they were going to call in. It wasn't the initial guy. I really don't know how to say his name, and I don't want to disrespect it, but Siraj Abin Wahaj. It wasn't him, because he's the one that they're putting front and center for prosecution, obviously. So it was one of the other individuals that called in. They said that the call was made and that the children are starving. That call was made. That's fact. Somebody called the authorities. I'm happy that that happened. That needed to happen. But the big deal here, where I've just named a ton of things that are important, that are good enough reasons to arrest these people and hold all of these people accountable. The welfare of children. They said 11 children, I believe, starving on a compound. So now, you add to the fact that they're also saying that they was trying to train these kids to be school shooters. I don't know about that. If somebody seems to me to be so paranoid that they're going to separate their children and themselves from all of society, how are they going to get their kids in school to be shooting the school up in the first place? School shooters usually have schooling. They're going to school. They graduate from one grade to another until they get to the school that they want the kid to shoot up, correct? If this was the working theory. Well, if you don't ever send your children to school, which is also abuse, if you don't ever send your children to school, how can they be school shooters? I think that there's enough here to hold these people accountable for child neglect, for child endangerment, child abuse in general. And we have no idea what else was going on or what the kids were allowed to do to each other. We have no idea of this. But what we do know is, if you're training someone in bunker type situations like they had there to shoot, and just because they're kids, that does not mean you're training to have a school shooting. That's my point. It seems like these people are paranoid enough to starve themselves. So why wouldn't they be paranoid enough to think that somebody is coming to kill them? It's not really a leap of faith to think that those two things could work in conjunction with one another. So I'm very happy that they have these guys arrested. And anything else on the story that it comes up, I'm going to definitely update everybody on. But before I go, the signature guy that they have being the face of all of this insanity is Siraj Abin Wahaj. And he's actually the son of a Brooklyn imam that was from Bever-Stuyvesant, Masjid Taqwa. I don't know how to say the name. I'm sorry, y'all. That was believed to be part of the 1993 World Trade Center bombing. For everybody that don't know, before the World Trade Center was actually hit by planes, in I believe 2001, in 1993, there was another bombing at the World Trade Center where people had put explosives into, I believe, U-Hauls. No, it wasn't U-Hauls. It was Ryder trucks, where people had put explosives into Ryder trucks. That's one of the reasons why, if you live in New York City, Ryder truck turned into Budget. They stopped being Ryder. This is one of the reasons. They put explosives into Ryder trucks, R-Y-D-E-R, Ryder. Drove them into the parking lot of one of the buildings and tried to take the buildings down that way by blowing up the pillars or basically the what they thought held the building up. There was explosions. People got hurt, but the building stayed up. His father, Siraj Abin Wahab's father, is believed to have been a co-conspirator in that bombing. So when you put all of that together, if anything, if these guys were thinking about shooting or causing damage or anywhere, I would think that they would be aiming a little bit higher than children at a school. I'm just saying. This could be mostly just to, you know, fear-mongering. But I also wouldn't be surprised if they were planning on not only using the training that they were given for these children for defense, but also offense. I'm not saying that they wasn't. I'm just saying I just need more to believe before you can tell me that they were going to shoot up a school. Because anybody can go shoot up a school. The only reason to teach children how to shoot, if you wanted to shoot up a school, was if they were actually going to school. And for all intents and purposes, it seems like these children were not attending any school in order for them to be in the school to shoot the school up. If that makes any sense. Also, when the authorities arrived, they say Wahaj was heavily armed with an AR-15 rifle, 5 30-round magazines, and 4 loaded pistols. Then why wasn't there a shootout? Does anybody else remember Waco? See, Waco ended up getting televised because somebody spoke, talked out. They ended up letting somebody in the news organization know the news was down there. They televised Waco. Waco was a similar situation, but under much better conditions. Waco actually had buildings for people to live in. They actually had a self-sustaining type of ecosystem going on there where they had farming and they had livestock and they were able to feed people. Okay? They had schools in Waco. Just so we could be clear on this. This is not comparing apples and apples. Okay? This is comparing something a little bit different. But what I'm saying is that certain principles applied that were similar. That's it. So when the police rolled up on him or arrived, he had an AR-15 rifle supposedly on him, 5 30-round magazines, and 4 loaded pistols on him, but there was no shootout. There was no shootout. He just surrendered. This very dangerous man. You have no idea what he's going to do next because he wants to shoot up schools with children. There's a couple of things that you could say in this world that will make people not listen to you or not listen to a person that you don't want them to listen to. One thing you could do is call them crazy. Once you call somebody crazy, there's a large percentage of our population that shuts down. And they don't want to listen to, believe, or anything that comes out of this individual's mouth. If somebody is believed to be a pedophile, nobody wants to hear anything that they have to say. This falls under both categories. Because being a pedophile, you're hurting children. And taking your family out into the middle of nowhere and building a shacks, what they was living in, can be seen as crazy. And then wanting to shoot up schools with children in it. So whatever the story actually is, there's a good chance we might not never get to know. Because the story that has already been put out there is so fucking bizarre and crazy. Anyway, so leave the comments down below. I want to know what you guys think about this. I mean, if you think I'm a weirdo crazy, obviously he was trying to train kids to shoot schools. You don't need any more proof other than the fact that they had actual guns and actual kids. Now leave that down in the comment section. I understand. I respect it. If you think, nah, I need a little bit more evidence. They had guns and kids. But hell, I got a neighbor. He lives right down the block. He got guns and kids. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe. Join the notification gang. Hashtag Bronx Bombers. Let's get it. I love y'all. Take care of each other. Hug the kids for me. I haven't forgotten about you. And that's all I got on this one. I'm out. If you like this video, please hit the like and subscribe button. If you would like to help dictate the direction that this channel takes, please leave a comment. All comments are appreciated, whether positive or negative. Thank you very much and enjoy your day. And remember, positive thoughts cause for positive things to happen. Let's get it.